This week in the Galakrond's Awakening adventure, we got Cleric of the Scales, which is basically just Shadow Visions on a stick, which is absolutely insane for a Divine Spirit Interfire deck. Unlike Shadow Visions, it does take the card out of your deck, but I think that's not really a significant distinction in this archetype, and it might even be a benefit compared to Shadow Visions. So far I've played 13 games with this deck, my record is 9-4, and Cleric of the Scales feels like an absolutely insane card. Feels like, to an extent, it carries this deck. Other than the Cleric of the Scales, last week we got Dark Prophecy, which gives you a pretty big 3-drop. I'm not totally in love with this card yet. It does kind of mess with Psychopomp sometimes, which I don't love, and if you just hit like a 2-5 or even a 2-6, I'm not sure that it's that great, but it's a fine card worth trying out. So other than these new adventure cards, a lot of the stuff should look familiar. Divine Spirit Interfire combo, Cleric, Powered Shield, Circle. I do play a total of 5 spells for the Cleric of the Scales, which I think is fine. We can still hit what we want pretty reliably. Then we've got the 2 injured minions, Neferset Ritualist, Ahmet, Psychopomp. And of course, to support the Cleric of the Scales, we do have to force dragons, which is not the greatest, but the 1-drop is so insane it seems worth it. Right now I've got 2 Amalgam, 2 Fate Weaver, and 2 Big Ol' Whelp. I've got Fate Weaver over Twilight Drake just because I feel like it's a more reliable stat line, but maybe that could be wrong. You could also play like Fairy Dragon or Evasive Feywing, which are pretty good aggressive cards, but you can't Divine Spirit Interfire them, which seemed not exciting. Another consideration would be like Dragon Maw Scorcher. Has some nice Cleric Circle of Healing synergy, but whatever, I don't think the dragons are really the important part of this build. And our 30th card is Mind Flayer Karj. Just a very nice tempo card. Ahmet's pretty good. Should I keep it on the coin? The card is so insane. I'm not sure how insane it really is against Rogue, because they're just so good at killing stuff. But he'll probably invest in killing these minions, and then I can just play Ahmet and it'll be hard for him to deal with. Hopefully, at least. Also, I picked up a Divine Spirit. I have a Powered Shield already. And with a solid lineup of minions, that might be good enough to just cheese out an early win. I think I will coin out Ahmet instead of just playing Amalgam next turn. But I'm not entirely sure. Might depend on what I draw here. I like Ahmet. By playing Ahmet here, my next turn can be Power Word Shield plus a 3/9. Seems a lot better than the other order. Seal Fate, Crypt. But I can still buff it up to 6 and make it 3/6. Ritualist. I think I'm doing this. Cleric of the Scales. Alright. Let's do this and try to find an Interfire. So I actually am threatening lethal here. I have 24, I believe, if he does nothing. Alright, kind of a bummer, but I might still just hit him for 24 here. Second Interfire is actually just lethal. This deck is so stupid. I'm pretty sure I like just keeping Psychopomp all the time with this deck. Card is so insane.
Is someone injured?
I just need a turn 3 play, and this hand looks pretty nuts. But sometimes my turn 3 is just heal this and draw a card, which is also fine.
Right away.
Or I just play Nightmare Amalgam. Well, making a 0/8 here seems kinda dumb, but I do have a Divine Spirit in my hand. It's probably still dumb, though.
Right away.
Bones of the fall.
Could just trade this off in Psychopomp, but I don't really feel like I need to do that.
Is someone injured?
Drawing 2 cards seems fine.
Right away. I will act as your scale.
Oh, thank God. I thought that was about to be the dragon. The Hellfire Dragon. I might have still played into it too hard, but at least I didn't get punished. Neferset Ritualist draws 4 cards here, so sure.
Life is an afterthought.
Can hero power and draw 2 more, but that's going to make me overdraw. Another Divine Spirit. I'm assuming he would have played Hellfire Man if he had it last turn. But like, even if he does have it this turn, I've got stuff in hand I can play. And as soon as I draw Inner Fire, or Cleric of the Scales really, anything that sticks is just going to murder him. Is that going to be a clear? Not quite. So Psychopomp has, okay, 2 Clerics, 2 Tolvirs, and a Dalaran Librarian. Oh, that's a Cleric of the Scales. So he's at 24. I actually need something with 6 health in play. So I guess I'm going to go Psychopomp instead of Big Ol' Whelp here.
What is Elun's will?
I don't have to play Cleric of the Scales this turn. Can hold it for a lethal turn. But like, if I want to play Psychopomp this turn, Cleric of the Scales is the only one that makes sense. But I guess Psychopomp is only... It's only like 1 in 3 to hit a 6 health minion. Let's just spend 6 mana. It's not like I need to Inner Fire him this turn, or... Like, I can just Inner Fire him for several turns after this. It doesn't really matter when it happens, I think.
His return is nigh.
Only 2 invokes on that, so it's not too scary. Oh, Circle of Healing, so that's lethal if I hit Inner Fire.
On wings of destruction they come.
What can I say? He shouldn't have left 7 power in play when he was at 21 or whatever. Amateur mistake.
Tyrande versus Malfurion.
My beloved choice.
My dear Malfurion.
Do I keep Cleric of the Scales for turn 1? I don't know, maybe I just want to go like Blade Master into Psychopomp. Cleric of the Scales is pretty bad with Psychopomp. Maybe I just keep it and don't play it though. It is a pretty insane card in this deck. I think with this hand I coin out Injured Blade Master. Especially with this as a follow-up. I was thinking maybe I just Power Word Shield heal it on turn 3 or something. But with Dark Prophecy as a follow-up, I think I like it even more. I think I would prefer that he just killed this here, so I can Psycho Pump it on turn 4. Just play the Dark Prophecy next turn.
I cannot do it.
Let's see, I could make this have 7 health, it would go down to 2. I think I'd rather just play this. Yikes. Well, Pyromancer seems like the only real minion there. So basically this turn I got to make a 3-5 instead of a 4-2. There is some risk that my Psycho Pomp isn't as good, but I don't think this deck really plays like Scale Worm anymore. Could Power Word Shield. This would go down to 6. Trade heal. Or just leave it at 1 and play a Tulvir. I don't know, if I just let him value trade this, it's kind of bad. Like, how do I deal the 1 damage to it? I guess I could just trade off a Psycho Pump, but what if he Hero Powers into it? Alright, I found a 3-mana thing. If he puts the Pyromancer in the res pool, maybe I can trade off the Blade Master and have better odds. Or maybe I even just play Ahmet here. And then next turn, whatever I hit off Psycho Pump is good. I can actually Ahmet plus Cleric of the Scales now.
I see
On
a dark
wings of
future.
destruction they come.
Divine Spirit is better than Inner Fire, right? Because I need 2 Divine Spirits, I never need 2 Inner Fires. This line did risk him killing my Cleric of the Scales before Psycho Pump could come down, but how is he dealing 7?
The end.
So if I play Tulvir here, it's a 2-4, not a 2-7, right? Well, I guess I could circle it. Alright, that's fine, actually.
By
I
the
put
wind.
more left in me. No hope now.
So it looks pretty likely that I can use this to find Inner Fire and then hit for 14 with something next turn. But 14 isn't going to be quite good enough. Savage Roar. Interesting. Oh shit, there's an Inner Fire, so I can make a 28 power minion here. Well, I'm actually not guaranteed to hit Divine Spirit, but we'll go for it. Psycho Pump is a
It is your time.
slightly better buff target. Actually, maybe not. Yeah, this was bad, right? I was assuming that whatever went into the second half of the Reborn minion would die, but since it survived, it was better to buff the Cleric of the Scales. Basically, I should have a 3-1 here instead of a 1-1. My thinking was, if this gets silenced by Spellbreaker or whatever, then I have a 3-1 instead of a 1-1. But, I mean, I just took a 1-1 instead of a 3-1 without him having to have a specific card, so that's just dumb. But either way, I ended up with a 28 power minion with a lot of health. Should be hard for him to deal with.
It is
This is going in here. I guess I could heal this to keep it around. This is going to be a 20 health minion. How much difference is there between 20 and 22? Probably not that much.
What?
But how important is having a 1/1 in play? Might be somewhat important if he has more reborn minions.
Is someone injured?
It is your time.
4 mana 3/6. So going back to the turn that I picked my Divine Spirit target, I could have, instead of 2 1/1s, had a 3/3 here. Alright. Looks like it didn't matter because Divine Spirit OP.
Randa versus Valera.
Watch your back. Elune give me strength.
Do I just keep a Cleric of the Scales off the mulligan? Probably, right? Especially since I have a dragon. Not necessarily sure what I would go for off this. Actually, maybe with the Psychopomp pickup, I'm not even playing it on turn 1. Maybe it's just not a card I should be keeping off the mulligan. Because on turn 1, you're not really sure if you want Divine Spirit or Inner Fire. But you can also go for like Dark Prophecy to help round out your curve. I think it's probably worth keeping. It's just that I happened to hit a Psychopomp here, so it changed things. I'm just gonna coin Psychopomp, I think. Assuming he just daggers and kills my guy.
More left in me.
And then it looks like next turn is gonna be Cleric of the Scales plus whatever 3-drop seems appropriate. I could definitely Mind Flayer that thing.
More left in me.
On wings of destruction they come.
I definitely think I want the Divine Spirit. But Power Word Shield was reasonable. So what would be a better Mind Flayer target in that deck? Maybe like Shield of Galakrond would be pretty good. Most of his stuff is pretty garbage. I think I take that trade so he can't value trade over my 1/1. Looks like he's value trading over my 1/1 anyway. Didn't seem like that Taunt Lackey really did much. So, 5-drop. Wow, Cleric of the Scales to find Inner Fire. So next turn I can actually double Divine Spirit, Cleric, Inner Fire. The Cleric is not guaranteed to hit Inner Fire, I still have 4 spells in deck. And I guess on a 5 health minion that's not even lethal. But that's just something I have access to for the rest of the game. So if anything ever sticks, he's probably in a lot of trouble. I think I just like Dark Prophecy, Nightmare Amalgam here. This thing could be a 1/7. You can deal 5 to it pretty easily. I can't really pick Mana Wraith. Well, I guess I could take Mana Wraith and then play Micro Mummy. But he can kill Mana Wraith on board, so it's not that bad for him.
What is Elune's will?
Spell Shifter. I don't know if I need to take the Spell Shifter. Like, he can value trade with his Candle Taker on it. It's kind of bad for me. But I've seen a lot of his cards that would be able to deal the last 2 damage.
Let me show you.
That's also just the only minion that threatens lethal with double Divine Spirit Inner Fire. But yeah, like, even if he tries to play around Inner Fire stuff by setting this down to a 1-2 or a 1-1 or something, I have the circle. Although I guess if it was a 1-1 and I circled, I wouldn't quite have enough damage. But whatever. No Stampeding Kodo, please. Also, no Shield of Galakrond, please. Oh, yeah. That's pretty rough. High Priest Amit.
I see a dark future.
Wings of destruction they come.
Easy Inner Fire, right? Alright, so I've got 3 things in health. 3 things in play with 7 health. If any one of them lives, it should be good enough to Divine Spirit him.